The Syrian government and the opposition have met for the first time since the civil war began nearly 3 years ago. But though they were face to face, they didn't actually talk to each other, instead negotiating separately with UN envoy Lakhdar Brahimi. Our correspondent Zeina Khodr is standing by in Geneva for us. So that brief morning session now over, Zeina, how did it go?
Well, like you mentioned, they sat in one room, they faced each other, but they didn't talk to each other. Lakhdar Brahimi, the UN Special Envoy, addressed them for approximately half an hour. This is the information we're getting from the delegates. He stressed on the need to find common ground, but he also reiterated that the conference in Geneva is a political conference, and it's based on the Geneva I communique, which calls for setting up a transitional body with full executive powers. And really, this has been a point of contention between the warring sides. The Syrian government stressing that the priority should be to end the violence and to end, quote, terrorism, while the opposition stressing that they came here to set up a transitional body to bring about peace and stability in Syria. So very contentious issues. Both sides are still wide apart, really. They have conflicting agendas.
This is a very different situation, and transitional government doesn't exist in international law. A transitional body is needed when there is no state and the state has collapsed. That is why we will discuss the main points in the Geneva communique and the terminology used before we take any stance.
Today, we had the chance to speak directly to regime. The regime today had to listen to us talking what the Syrian people want. You know, dictators, usually they don't like to listen. But today, they had to listen to us and to the voice of Syrian people, that Syrian people, they want transition from dictatorship to democracy. Transition process has just started today.
Zeina, with these two sides being as far apart as they are, as you mentioned, what are they likely to agree on here?
Well, what we have learned from the opposition delegation is that this afternoon, during this afternoon session, they are going to propose a ceasefire in the central city of Homs. And what they're going to propose is that that ceasefire takes effect as of tomorrow morning, really testing the will of the Syrian government, because they have repeatedly said that they don't trust the regime and that the regime is just buying time, and they're here not to make peace, but to buy time to stay in power. Homs is an area which has been under siege. A lot of neighborhoods have been under siege for some time now, for months. Aid hasn't been able to reach there. But we asked the opposition, how are you going to guarantee, a ceasefire from your part? Because we know that the Syrian National Coalition does not have much influence over groups on the ground. The answer we got was, you will see, we will make sure this will happen, but on condition that the regime stops bombarding the areas. This is going to be very difficult, but undoubtedly, if they do reach a ceasefire in Homs, a localized ceasefire, it could be the beginning of similar ceasefires in other areas in the country. No one is expecting a political deal here in Geneva this week. What they're expecting is the possibility to alleviate the plight of the Syrian people, and this is what we've been hearing from the delegates here. At the end of the day, there are hundreds of people are being killed almost on a daily basis, and millions really need urgent assistance.
Thank you very much for that, Zeina. That's Zeina Khodr joining us from Geneva.